Good morning, everyone. Now, I'm back again. Going to make another video. This one is going out to Donna Doyen. She has personally asked me to put this video out because she wants this recipe, apparently. She's asked me a couple times, and I finally found a little time in my day to get it together for her. So, this one's for you, Donna. Hopefully you'll like it. All right? All right, step number one, we're going to have to get our yeast going for our bread. This is keto bread, by the way, that I'm making. So I'm going to have 1.5 cups of warm water. Now make sure you don't make it too hot because you will kill the yeast. So I like to be able to, I take my bowl, my mixing bowl, I put some hot water in it from the sink and get it nice and warm. Kind of preheat the bowl that I'm going to be mixing everything in. And then I will take 1.5 cups of warm water and pour in there. I actually get the water hot and I pour it in there, and then I test it every once in a while till it gets down to where it feels comfortable. Not too hot, because I've killed the yeast before because it's too hot. Anyway, with 1.5 cups of water, I'm going to add 1.5 tablespoons of my safe yeast, my instant yeast, 1.5 tablespoons of that, and I'm going to put in 1.5 teaspoons of honey. All right, and let me get that started for you. I'll get the camera set up and you can see what I'm doing. All right. These are the ingredients I'm using to give you an idea. We've got some Anthony's Premium Vital Wheat Gluten back there. I use golden raw organic flaxseed meal, but it's a medium texture, so I'm going to run it through my coffee right here. I'm going to run it through and get it a little bit finer. I've got some xanthin gum, some monk fruit sweetener, yeast, my honey, which is organic, by the way. You got 3 beaten eggs, and then all of my ingredients are in here, and I will read them off to you. In that bowl, we've got 6 tablespoons of sweetener, and you can use whatever sweetener you want. Of course, you've seen I use monk fruit sweetener. I like that. As long as it's a keto-friendly, low-carb sweetener, you know. And then the 3 eggs that are beaten. And but in here, we've got 3/4 cup of oat flour, which I don't have pictured here, but it comes in a white bag. I'll try to get the what do I want to say? Down below, I'll try to get the information to you from Amazon for that. You got 2/3 cup of flax seed meal, 1.5 cups of wheat gluten, plus 2 tablespoons. 1.5 cups just doesn't quite make it, so I throw in another 2 tablespoons. 3/4 teaspoon of xanthin gum, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, and I still got to get out of the refrigerator 3 tablespoons of butter. And that will pretty much sum up my ingredients, along with the yeast and the honey and water. All right, and I'll get on that right now. So, all right. Well, my water feels pretty timid right now. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and I measured out the yeast right here. Was it 1.5 tablespoons of yeast? We're gonna dump that in on the water, and then we're gonna follow it up with 1.5 teaspoons of honey. Now I've got a 1/2 teaspoon measuring thing here, so I have to put 3 of these in. Okay, there's 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Now keep in mind, I know this is supposed to be a keto bread and it's supposed to be low carb. The yeast will eat this honey up. You need to have honey or some kind of a sweetener in there that the yeast is going to activate the yeast. And what I'll do is usually I'll just take the spoon I use for the honey, kind of mix it up. That way you can get the rest of the honey off the spoon. There we go. Now let that sit for a little while and make sure it's working. If it starts bubbling up and looks like she's getting bigger in size, we know she's doing its job. Okay? All right, now if you can see here, when I stir this, you can see kind of a froth on the top. So I know my yeast is working. It's looking pretty good right now. So what we'll do is we'll start adding our other ingredients. All right. Now into this, I like to start adding my dry ingredients first. So I'm going to add this bowl of dry ingredients that I had thrown together earlier. Oh, jeez. Okay. And then we're going to add our chopped up flaxseed meal that I've chopped up even finer in my coffee grinder. Very good. Okay. And let me get a spoon and we'll get to mixing that. I kind of like to add the eggs last because the eggs came out of they're just like room temperature. So what I'll probably put in here next is my butter. I got to melt my 3 tablespoons of butter in the microwave here. And then we put that in. And then we'll put her on the mixer here. We'll get all done. We got my 3 eggs. Like I said, I usually add that in last because they're kind of a little bit on the cold side. We want the yeast to keep working as much as we can here. All right. Let's see here. There's my melted butter. That's good. That'll mix in real well. There we go. Put that in there. Okay. Now we're going to take you over to the mixer. All right. All right. So we're all set up with the mixer. Now to start with, I'm just going to use a paddle. The paddle seems to mix it together pretty good. We're going to put in our eggs here now. So I got my 3 eggs beaten. Yeah. Just throw them in there. And we'll close her up here. I put it on about 2, maybe 3. Let her mix up real good. We'll be back in a bit. Okay. As you can see, what I do with my spatula. It's getting pretty glutinous here. Get that all off of there because we want as much as we can. I'm going to change to a dough hook here. Now that I got it all mixed up real well, I'll go down the sides with my spatula here and kind of get it all mixed together. There we go. And what we'll do is we'll change out this for the dough hook. Okay. Just like that. And then I'll put it on probably about 2. And I'll let it go for a little while longer like that. Doesn't take much, as long as you got everything mixed together real well. It's not getting bound up like a regular dough would, but it still turns out real well. Okay. Let's go ahead and move this back. Let's take the deal off. Yeah. It looks pretty good. Let me get the sides down. Oh yeah, that looks really good. I'll fold it a couple times with my spatula. There we go. And that's what you're going to end up with when you get done. A nice ball of dough. As you can see, I've got my my bread pan all ready with a piece of parchment paper in it. I like to cut out some parchment paper and put in there, and that way it's really easy to take your dough out of the pan. It keeps your pan nice, your loaf pan nice and clean. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my spatula, just kind of roll it in there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Probably not. Probably blocking the camera, but you'll get the gist of it. And if you, there you go. There you go. Wow. It's already starting to rise, and I haven't got it out of the pan yet here. Okay. That's good. All right, that's pretty clean. So now that we've got it in here, I take my spatula and try to kind of make it even everywhere. I'll take these guys off because their job's done. Yeah, try to get some down here so we have a nice even loaf when it gets to rising. Some over in that corner. There we go. Yeah. There. That looks pretty good. Now, to top this off, I'll take a piece of cellophane plastic wrap, and I will shoot it with a little bit of avocado oil. Let me get that out for us here. You can watch what I do. A little bit of cling wrap. Do it over here on the stove where I'm not. Okay. Kind of stretch it out on the stove here. And I'll take a little bit of this, which is like a organic extra virgin olive oil spray. But it's not the aerosol type can. And what I do is I spray the plastic down so it won't stick to the dough. And then we take the plastic and put it down, oil side down, of course, just like that. And then I'll try to make sure there's plenty of room for it to grow. Just kind of put it on there loosely. And what I'll do is I'll stick this up in the microwave and just let it sit in there for a while, for about an hour, and let it rise. Let it relax and rise. There we go. Close the door up, and I'll be back with you in about an hour. Okay, it's been about a half hour, so we're gonna check on this now and see where we're at. Oh yeah, it looks like it's raising to me. We'll give it another 20, 30 minutes, and then we'll put her in the oven. I've got the oven preheated, 375. And we're gonna bake this in the oven when we get it ready to go in. We're gonna bake it for 30 minutes, all right? I'll be right back. Let's check on our let's check on our bread here, shall we? We still got, what, 2 minutes to go? I think I might take it out. Ah, yeah, look at that. It rose pretty good. I think I'm going to take it out, take the plastic off. I'm going to stick it in the oven. I've got the oven preheated at 375 degrees, and we're going to cook this for 30 minutes. Keep in mind that this is a low-carb bread. I know you are all thinking, how can it be? You put honey in it, but the yeast that we put in there is eating the honey up. So there won't be any left to count carbs. So, all right, there we go. We got it in the oven now. Remember, this whole loaf of bread is 39 and a half carbs for the whole loaf. So I don't know how big of slices you want, but then you can figure it out from there. But that whole loaf's 39 and a half carbs from what I can figure out. All right, so the alarm went off, so it's been 30 minutes, and we're gonna be pulling our bread out here from the oven. Oh, it looks good, doesn't it? And we're gonna let her cool here on this cooling rack for a while before we cut into it. All right, that turned out pretty nice. It's got a few holes here and there, but it feels like it's done. I think that happens when you put the plastic wrap on it. I think, I don't know. I've had loaves that come out with the top nice and smooth, and then other loaves with these little holes in it. Doesn't hurt the loaf any. It still tastes good. So anyhow, I'm gonna let it cool for a while. In fact, I might see how easy it's gonna be to pull this out. You just lift it up like this, and it comes right out of the deal now. I'm gonna let it sit and cool for a little while though before I pull it out of there. I don't want it to sink or anything. And then I'll put it on the cooling rack and let it cool. Well, as you can see, the bread turned out just fine. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna make sandwiches with it all week this week to take to work with me. And thank you all for joining me. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and push that like button down below. And I'm gonna try, I haven't done it yet before, but I'm gonna try to put the recipe down below along with all the ingredients where from Amazon on there. And I want to thank my beautiful wife, Susan, for allowing me to do this in her kitchen. God knows I make a mess once in a while, but if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have lost all the weight that I've lost. She's always been there for me, and she's quite a support for me. So anyway, God bless you all, and get out there and enjoy the day, and enjoy making something for yourself and your family. All right? Take care now. God bless.